Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna talk about Ashlesha Nakshatra. If you have your moon or ascendant in this nakshatra, then do watch this video, and even if you have any other planet over here, still do watch. You may resonate with few things. So yeah, if you have any placement in Ashlesha, do watch it. Alright. So an introduction to Ashlesha, first of all, what kind of nakshatra it is, and if you have a placement here, especially the ascendant or the moon, what kind of experiences you may go through, what you may learn in this life, what are your tendencies, your personality traits, and what all areas of life you have to be more attentive, you have to be more focused on those areas. So let's look into this. Now, Ashlesha Nakshatra falls between 16 degree 40 minutes to 30 degree of Cancer. So the very last, um, or you can say the second half of the Cancer or sign. And this nakshatra is having the worst reputation. It's ruled by Mercury and Moon as well. And why do we have uh, a bad reputation about Ashlesha? Because Ashlesha induces fear. It's ruled by the Nagas. Nagas are the serpents, and the snakes, if you see, what is their role in the ecosystem? They are predators. They hunt. They inflict poison, right? So it creates fear. And why like I really want to talk about 2 points about Ashlesha, why it's having the worst reputation, why people are so afraid of Ashlesha Nakshatra, Ashlesha natives. It's because, there's a trait in the Mercury nakshatras, whether it's the Ashlesha, Jyeshtha, or it's Revati, all three ruled by Mercury, and each of them do have a quality of looking into your soul, staring into your soul, looking into your mind, and understanding your emotional state. And the quality which Ashlesha carries is the ability to look into your deepest fears, what makes you afraid. So, what happens? The Ashlesha, when understands your fear, they try to play with those fears so that you can be manipulated, or it could be also a nakshatra which is so protective. This is the less talked about aspect of Ashlesha. Either it plays with your fears, or it is one of the most protective of all, so protective towards others that you may almost suffocate with that protection. So there are both aspects to it. Either you are being played by others, or you play with others. A lot depends upon which planet sits in Ashlesha. But yes, Ashlesha do have a bad reputation because of the fear it induces in other people. Alright. So the primary ruler of Ashlesha is Mercury. Mercury is the planet of mind and intellect, and the another planet which is ruling over this nakshatra is the moon, because Ashlesha falls in the Cancer sign. And if you look closely into the sign of Ashlesha, it's a group of stars which are arranged in a ring-like structure. It's a ring, or some people say it's a wheel, and some say it's just a snake all coiled up. You will see that the snakes are most of the time they are coiled up in a certain way. So there is this big meaning coming through Ashlesha which is connected to your purpose. The first purpose is to understand that the life may give you repeating patterns. Everything is happening in this cycle, and you may meet the same issue, the same situation again, until and unless you break that chain of not be fearful of that situation, learning to thrive with that situation. it's a sign of also that you need to move forward in life. Sometimes you may stop when you are too emotional, you may stop. You may cling to a certain situation, but you need to understand this cycle. Life goes on in this manner. You have to constantly move forward. And the another thing is, which is about what you want in life, this ring like structure of Ashlesha also means that you in this journey do require security. You want emotional support as well. So for that security, either you run away from people and you go into isolation, or it could be also, we will talk about this important part in the relationships, or you start scheming that the other person never goes away from you, trying to creating a mess. I'm sorry, but that's true. Creating a mess in relationships so that you don't break away from someone significant. So we'll talk about that later. But overall, this ring of Ashlesha, I just feel it's a well. It's a well of very deep emotions. And when you jump into it, you find the greatest gemstones, greatest abilities of your own, if you're not afraid of jumping into that well. Okay, so let's look into major 5 points and how these 5 points are influencing your life. The very first part I want to talk about is the fear of consequences one may go through. And this fear of consequences originates from mother or mother-like figure, or as this nakshatra is also ruled by moon, this goes back to the time when you were growing up. So you can relate it. Do see the placement of the moon and Mercury, how they are placed. This will decide the final result, and of course other planets needs to be taken in consideration. Okay, but in general, Ashlesha natives do fear the consequences, like what will happen next. The mother of the Nagas, the ruling deity of Ashlesha, the mother is the Kadru. And I don't know, like, if you're aware of the Kadru's curse. Kadru cursed her own sons because they disobeyed her. So the disobedience, not listening to mother, and if you don't listen to me, you have to face this consequence. That reward and punishment kind of dynamic between you and the caregiver, not just mother but the caregiver. Always you are in this situation that if you don't do this, you will face this. Okay, it could be a mother who is hyper vigilant, constantly focusing on your every move, and you don't find the sense of comfort. So the fear of consequences is so much that it disables you to take actions in life, and you start taking a lot of time and you cling to that situation and you don't want to act. Decision making ability is being impacted because of this. So one has to really break this chain and move out of this fear of consequences. And it also shows, especially for the young people or the children who are like around the age of 5 or less than 5. I have seen with this placement, they do have some kind of health issue, or it's simply the hearing defects, or struggle with the speech. And Ashlesha is also responsible for giving the balarishta. Like, as soon as you are born, you undergo a very challenging health issue, almost like a crisis. So health issues when you are young is induced by the Ashlesha. But again, problem with a nourishing figure, where you expect this person to give nourishment and protection, you are under this tension of, if I don't listen to this person, I'm going to fail. And the same happens when you grow up, that I need to face this, I want to work on this, but the fear of what will happen when I do my bit, what will happen next, so that fear of the result keeps you away from doing what is actually required. So the first thing is, do not fear and continue to do your work, continue to maintain the continuity in your profession, whatever it is. Working constantly is important. The second point I want to talk about is the depth of thinking. Choose your depth when it comes to thinking, when it comes to how emotionally um, you involve into anything, okay, in life, and how much you emotionally invest, how deeply you think. As this nakshatra is under the influence of Mercury, which is the intellect, the intelligence, Moon is the mind and emotions, this makes one so intelligent. There is no doubt that the person is very sharp and intelligent, knows how to create the path, how to navigate and get things done, whatever the need is, whatever the desire is, that fulfillment happens here with this particular nakshatra. And of course, the native knows how to impact the psychology of others. So this is also a plus point in getting things done the way they want to. So it's easy to climb the ladder, but it's also very easy and quick to fall from that ladder, because of not just how others are treating you sometimes, but also your own challenges. Your emotional challenges may bring you down from time to time. And the moon and Mercury, they sound okay, they're okay, they are mild planets, but Mercury is about duality. Mercury, if it's the mind, if it's so friendly, Mercury is also the trickster. Despite of being the messenger of gods, it's a trickster. And Moon, of course, Moon has its own phases, the dark and the light phases. So when you blend these things together, things do get challenging. Like, if you see an Ashlesha native, you will never be able to estimate from their face how they are feeling. They look okay, normal, cool, nothing bothers me, but deep within, that person is going through the darkest night of the soul. A lot goes deep within without showing. And as I mentioned at the start, it's about coiling up. Again, it's about coiling up, getting deeper into that negative space. So clinging to anything, clinging to the negativity, clinging to an addiction, it's not healthy. We'll talk about addiction a bit later, but clinging to what you know is unhealthy, but you're still doing it, and you're diving deeper into a very uncomfortable emotion, it makes things worse for you. So choose your emotional depth, how much you want to invest into it. At one point, consciously, you have to make the efforts to not to drown in that emotion. The third point is quite significant with respect to relationships. Our third point is the communication and the defense mechanism. So it's difficult for an Ashlesha native to open up the heart in relationships. And one may get misunderstood by others. There is this inherent quality of not trusting others. It's embedded deep within that the world is not safe, and how can I trust others? So there is mistrust all the time. And with that, there is this problem with opening up emotionally. And Ashlesha also gives a poor judgment with respect to relationships. You might do more for the people who are not good to you, and you might not do much for others who truly care for you. So, who is good for me? Who is bad for me? This judgment is challenging. Whatsoever planet is in Ashlesha, just opposite to it, that house is ruled by Saturn, ruled by Capricorn. So that judgment of who is right, who is wrong, it comes through experience. It comes through maturity. But in Ashlesha, if you see one failure, you literally lock your door. You just lock your door, you lock yourself up. That's the biggest challenge. And the communication is also being hindered. How much I should say about myself, how much I should express about me, about my life, because there's a fear that what if tomorrow when things are not good, this other person uses my vulnerability, my information against me as a weapon, maybe may do gossip about me or challenges me in some way or manipulates me. So that kind of fear is there, and then there is this hesitation to express. When it comes to physical intimacy, the expression of love is the physical expression here. The need to, coil up with someone, the physical, I would say, intimacy is important, the touch is important. But the main lesson over here is to open up your heart. Open up your heart to heart intimacy, heart to heart connection is what you are here to learn. So how much to say, how much to tell about myself is a big challenge in relationships. Being misunderstood is one of the most highlighted point. And again, like, if you feel, because you want protection in relationships, you want that security, and when you feel that it's missing, you start working on plans, you start working on creating a strategy how to make a person stay with you. Okay, so if it works on a very low principle, it's just about manipulating others, scheming others. So that's the negative term for that. But in general, Ashlesha tries to put up a picture out there, like, this is what we can do together, this is what how we can work on this. But it's just a part of making the other person stay but not taking the action. So the big thing here is the defense mechanism, always being in this alert mode and not trusting the others. But here the lesson is to experience this. Let you just be a part of this world. Open your eyes, and I'm not saying to trust, but to experience it without the fear. So this is a hurdle in relationships. The fourth point is the addictions or feeling stagnant. Yeah, we can say laziness, of course. Um, it's just taking time to act on what is so important. Learning to act now. This is what you're learning in this life, not postponing your actions. Again, that play of Mercury, Moon, you are in the state of confusion, which leads to this. And of course, the fear of consequences. Now, Ashlesha natives are very prone to addictions. It could be addiction of simply watching TV. It could be a substance abuse. It could be addiction to food. But there is one thing which helps the native to get that sense of relief. So one starts looking for relief and fulfillment and security in that particular substance, or maybe food, or maybe a person, maybe a TV show, anything. So any kind of addiction is unhealthy because it's just a coping mechanism, and there's a need to wake up from that. So postponing things is a negative, I would say, trait for Ashlesha, because it delays many things in life. It delays, most importantly, your own growth, your own strength, and also overdose of medicine or drug abuse. So any kind of chemical leading to health issues. So some Ashlesha natives I have seen, even with the slightest symptom, they start taking their medicine. even when it's not required. Self-medication happens here, and some allergic drug reactions happen with Ashlesha native. So what you put in your mouth, which you think it's a medicine, or you think it's like a comfort thing for me to eat this or drink that, it can lead to poisoning, it can lead to allergies, it can lead to lethal problems for you. So what you eat, what you drink, and not getting addicted to any of the activity, addictions needs to be taken care of. The last point, the fifth point of this analysis, is about understanding your purpose. What is your true purpose in this life? How you can connect with that purpose. The purpose is to awaken, to open up your eyes, awaken, and understand the truth, your truth, the truth of your existence. I know it sounds very philosophical, and the truth may change from person to person. If I want to simplify this, just think about what makes you feel afraid. What are you running from time to time? You don't want to face it. Your truth, your awareness, what you want to learn lies over there. When you face that situation, you come closer to your truth. Remember, at the start, I said Ashlesha is represented by this coil like cluster of stars, this ring, and this power lies in it. A beauty lies in that ring, and you have to awaken it. That's why Ashlesha is connected to the Kundalini awakening. Now, I'm no expert in Kundalini, but what I know is when the union happens, when the divine masculine and feminine comes together, that union leads to this beautiful force, this feminine energy, that is the Kundalini, and it's there in each one of us since we were born, at our base of the spine. So how life treats you and how you treat yourself, it further gets inactive, it further lies dormant in the base of the spine. And when you get into the spiritual practices, when you start doing that, when you're trained by the gurus, you get that upliftment. You have this sense of awakening. Okay, it's just about what I would say. It's this awakening is about awakening of the higher self. That higher self who is in a state of bliss, who is not anymore in control of the circumstances. You're not under fear, you're not feeling vulnerable, you're not challenging yourself every time when you are in distress. It's just about feeling the bliss. So some kind of awakening is going to happen in this life, and it is happening once you face your fears very thoroughly. You're not shying away, you're not running away from your situation. So, and the Nagas, if you see the way the Nagas live, the realm of Nagas, it's dark, and the only light they see is of their own wisdom. Wisdom is significant here. If you see the four padas of Ashlesha, they all are ruled by Jupiter and Saturn, the wisdom and the lessons. So what you carry inherently as a soul and what you learn in this life, tapping into that wisdom, those lessons will show you the light. So somewhere the purpose is also to get tuned with your own self. And of course, how the snake sheds the skin, in the same way in this life you are shedding layers and layers of, number one, prejudice, number two, the misunderstanding, the misconception you have about many aspects of life, and number three, the love of indulgence and enjoyment. These layers needs to be removed to connect with your truth. And lastly, the awakening also happens when you start facing this world with great courage, not staying in this state of fear that the world is not a safe place. This is a big struggle because, again, ruled by Mercury and Moon. Moon is mind, Mercury is the nervous system. So you are always in this state of either the fight the defense, or it's the flight. I want to run away, I don't want to face it. So that coordination is weak somewhere. So participating, facing your fears, facing the world will also help you to awaken in this life. So that's all for today's video. I hope you found this analysis helpful in some way. See you next time. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.